You're listening to Sideshow Network.
Hello, 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 America. You have found it. It's the Loftus Party. And I say America, but I mean the rest of the world. We have listeners globally. And I thank you for listening. I'm very excited. I've had a lot of coffee. And I'm going to be honest, I've been hitting the Red Bull kind of hard. We got a great show for you this week. We've got Andrew Apple over there in Los Angeles. Andrew?
Cello, Michael.
Cello. And we have Stacy Lennox broadcasting from her freedom bunker somewhere in Georgia.
Yes, I'm in the bunker at an undisclosed location.
How are things in the freedom bunker?
Oh, the freedom bunker is wonderful. Yeah, it was actually kind of funny because I was thinking of you earlier this week, Michael.
I'm sure you were. What were you thinking?
Well, the Cato Institute, these really great little think tank of sort of libertarianish sort of folks, every 4 years they do a survey to find out which of the 50 states have the most freedom for their residents. And as I looked at that particular study.
Slow down. So,
okay.
First of all, you are jumping right into the show. You skipped like three gears. You're like kaboom. No, I like it that you are ready to go. So there's a place called the Cato Institute it's an Israeli think tank?
No, a conservative libertarian think tank here in the U.S.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
It's hooked to those evil Koch brothers.
The Koch brothers.
The Koch brothers, along with Americans for Prosperity and all that other stuff. Those horrible freedom-loving folks.
Those bastards. So they're ranking every state, right?
They are ranking every state.
I have the funny feeling now I'm about to get slammed somehow.
Do you know what number 49 is?
Out of 50?
Out of 50. It would be the next to the bottom of the barrel.
California.
Exactly. Do you know what number 50 is?
New York.
Yes.
Yeah, I figured. So those are the worst?
Those are the worst in terms of individual freedom and business freedom and personal liberty and the ability to pursue some serious happiness.
Wow.
And I just found it amazing that on the New York report, after looking at California and all those nifty gun things that Jerry Brown signed in after the court said they weren't going to hear any more cases, like we're going to register ammo now, that New York still lost to California. And it was actually recommended that New York adopt the business practices of California, Pennsylvania, and Connecticut to improve its score.
Oh, my gosh. So who's the best? Who has the most, out of all 50 states, who has the most freedom?
It's actually very close to you. It's New Hampshire. Live free or die. Their license plate is truth in advertising.
That's great. So here's what I want to know. Like, what more personal freedoms do they have in New Hampshire than I have in New York?
Lots of things around the regulatory environment in terms of how personal behavior is regulated. New Hampshire actually has some of the best Second Amendment laws in the country as far as freedoms around gun ownership. And they also have an incredible business environment in terms of the tax structure and other things. So this survey, if you haven't gone out and taken a look at it, I was actually disappointed because I'm in the Freedom Bunker in Georgia and we rank number 22. That's awful. Awful,
wow.
I say.
Wow. Where's Ohio on this list? Like you have it memorized. Where's Ohio?
Let me go and look. I can look it up real quick. Where's Ohio? Let's see.
Because that's where I'm from. That's the old hometown. OHIO.
Number 31. You just keep 31. Going down the list, friend.
See, this is a great segue. Like, and this is something I'm gonna give it up to Glenn Beck on this one. Glenn Beck, he was using a chalkboard. Like, you know, remember he used to do on Fox News when he was on Fox News all the time? Yep. Like, you don't see your freedoms being taken away. It's tiny little dribs and drabs. And they take a little bit, and you're like, okay, I can handle that. Then they take a little bit more, and you're like, okay, I can handle that. And then they take it's like the Chinese water torture. And what is the breaking point? That's what I want to know. When do we have to lose them all? Do we have to be in like some like George Orwellian 1984 society before we freak out and try to get freedom back?
I don't know. And I think a lot of people don't pay attention to what's going on at the state level because so much of that freedom grabbing stuff now is coming straight out of Washington, D.C. They're just bypassing the states altogether.
But what are they taking? What are we losing? I need an example. I need something I can sink my teeth into.
We talked a lot last week about money. We're losing a lot of money into the tax system for things we don't even understand.
Yeah.
Then you've got Tim Kaine. If you don't know who Tim Kaine is, folks, he's Hillary Clinton's vice presidential nominee.
Also an excellent harmonica player.
He's also a harmonica player. Yep.
Hold on. Where was hold the phone? Hold the phone. Tim Kaine plays the harmonica?
Absolutely. There was actually a video that came out earlier this week of him just jamming with a band on his harmonica at an event.
Okay, that dude is super creepy. That dude is super de-duper creepy.
But you liked Martin O'Malley.
Say what?
You liked Martin O'Malley. You thought he should stick around and play the guitar.
Martin O'Malley was a rock star. I mean, let's be honest. There was something pretty badass about Martin O'Malley, even if you didn't like his politics.
Martin O'Malley?
I don't know. All I know is this. Tim Kaine gives me the absolute creeps. I'm a very good judge of people. And this is just me going, that dude he literally gives me the creeps. Something is not right with that guy. He's like a cheesy little villain from a Coen Brothers movie.
You know what he was? You know what he was before he was tapped for Hillary's nominee, and
he was the head of the Democratic National Committee.
Yeah, before Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Yeah, that was the whole deal. Andrew and I were talking about that a couple weeks ago. That was the quid pro quo. That was the Hillary Clinton lost to Barack Obama, so she already knew, okay, I'm going to put in my bid for 8 years from now, so I need to get my girl Debbie Wasserman Schultz in there. So Tim Kaine, you got to step down to let Debbie in. And then Tim Kaine's like, what do I get out of this deal? And she's like, how does vice president sound? And he said, okie dokie, harmonica solo, okie dokie, let me put you in the wood chipper. He is creepy.
You make him sound like a human Teddy Ruxpin there.
He is. He's like if Teddy Ruxpin and who's the guy from Fargo? William H. Macy. If Teddy Ruxpin and William H. Macy had a baby, it would be a harmonica playing super creepy Tim Kaine. Woo! We are firing it up.
I guess so.
Okay, so I want to go straight to the Twitter thing. I want to put this behind us. Yeah, you were giving me grief on Twitter for supporting the Bee Gees.
Yes, I was.
Are you not down with the Bee Gees?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
The Bee Gees were a little before my time.
They were before my time as well. However,
I didn't hit the skating rink until it was like Hall & Oates.
Oh my gosh, you just did another one. You know what other song I just downloaded? She's Gone by Hall & Oates. That's a great tune.
I need to take over your iTunes.
I'm trying to download some Al Green right now, and I'm having some problems with that. Hall & Oates, their early stuff, fantastic. Go back and listen to some early Bee Gees, the Brothers Gibb. They are truly, their history has not been very kind to them, and I think Barry is the last one alive. He's got another album coming out. I hope it's good, but I feel like I want to give Barry Gibb a hug. Like, America was so mean to those dudes, like so vicious to them, simply because they were popular, and they did some great tunes. I'm sorry, you can throw on. The only
recollection I think I have, didn't Andy Gibb hook up with Victoria Principal or something?
Yes.
That's the big, vague recollection I have of the Brothers Gibb.
That is a big fight in the Loftus household, because Andy Gibb was desperately in love with her. And she said something like, you love the drugs more than me. She kicked him out, and then he OD'd. And, very, very sad. Very sad. A lot of tragedy in that family, but a lot of great music. Nights on Broadway. I'll stay away. I'll stay away from the whole staying alive thing. Saturday Night Fever. If you took Saturday Night Fever out of the mix, still so many great songs. I started a joke that started the whole world crying. It's awesome.
Okay, but Michael, I do have to ask you, since we are on this subject, what are your feelings on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band?
That never happened. That never happened.
That never happened?
Seriously, I can turn a blind I can turn a blind eye to that whole thing. That was an assault on the good name of the Beatles. That was just a drug-fueled fiasco that never occurred. It
So you
never
are in
occurred.
Sergeant Pepper denial.
Yes, they did a horrible movie where they I never even saw it because it would break my heart. So anyway, yes, I'm a proud lover of the Bee Gees. Here's my analogy to this. Appreciating, like, the Bee Gees had the number one selling album of all time for the longest time. And then Michael Jackson came out with Thriller, and it surpassed them. And like the record company called up Barry Gibb, and he's like, "Hey, bad news! Michael Jackson just beat the all-time record." And Barry Gibb, heartbroken, not from the loss of the record, he goes, "Well, he can have it. He can have it," because he had the Bee Gees had so much hate, just so much hate thrown at him. They're like, "Let Michael Jackson deal with it. Let him deal with it."
Well, and I guess he did a little bit. But back to your other fanboy moment there on Hall & Oates.
Hold up. I want to say this. Liking the Bee Gees is like liking masturbation, okay? Everybody's like, ew, but everybody does it, and everybody loves it.
Oh, God. You can always count on Loftus for the visual.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, so what else? We're going to segue into something
We
else.
can segue back to Mr. Hall for a moment. Daryl Hall's the blonde one, right?
Yeah, Daryl Hall.
Okay. The big blonde one. He has some really epic new series where he's bringing all kinds of, new artists to the forefront, this like live jam sort of thing. He took your favorite group of people, the social justice warriors, the little buttercups who can't hear anything that they don't agree with, to task in an article in Salon like I have never seen before. He can't
That was
stand
fantastic.
them. It was awesome.
Yeah, where they were like, you've taken black music or something. You're not allowed to take.
You've appropriated it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a
You're a rich girl, and you've gone
blues.
too far, and you know it don't matter anyway. That whole album.
You can't be a white guy and play the blues, apparently, or you're appropriating things.
Well, you know what? I can see where they're upset with it, but like, and unless you are an artist, like, you know who has a great beef? Little Richard. Little Richard had a great beef. Chuck Berry has a real, they literally couldn't get their songs on the radio until like white people covered it. Elvis Presley, Pat Boone, those guys. However, you can't get mad at it. You can't get mad at a person who's just putting out great music, especially like that whole Philly sound that Hall & Oates were doing back in the day. That was like 1970 something. That's awesome. Yeah, he was throwing some F-bombs at him, which is exactly how you need to confront these douchebag people. On Twitter, I had that picture. I think it was like two Russian girls, beach volleyballs players, and one girl's like smacking the other girl on the butt. You know what it is. It's not even like a salacious picture. It's just like, it's so tame. And I just tweeted out at the Flipside Loftus, I'm like, hey, we're getting ready to do the podcast. If you got any topics, now's the time to let us know. And I put that picture on there with like the hashtag teamwork. And I'm not kidding you. Somebody, they had their icon, their little picture thing was just the outline of a heart, and it had like the rainbow flag on it. And they said, this is disgusting. Like, really? That's disgusting? We got a lot of different words we could have used, but you used disgusting, and you've got the gay flag in your icon picture. That's not disgusting. That's what you're aspiring to. Good Lord.
Yeah, no, Twitter definitely has its share of, shall we say, buttercups.
Buttercups.
I can't see anything. I can't hear anything. I can't read anything I don't disagree with. But Twitter is a public platform, and I'm going to look at the timelines of everyone I already know I hate.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, my gosh. Let's talk about this. This is a great one. What's his dude? Brad Thor.
Yeah.
On Twitter. Made some Twitter news. Do you follow the Brad Thor?
Oh, I followed the Brad Thor for years.
All right. Well, the Brad Thor was one of the loudest Never Trump people, and he just did some basic math the other day that I found hysterical. He's going to vote for Trump because Trump is a better chance of freedom than Hillary. I'm like, welcome aboard, dude. How long did it take you to do that math?
Well, yeah, and then his Twitter timeline has been a little bit, shall we say, schizophrenic since he made the decision. So it's kind of hard to follow exactly where his head is. But yeah, no, he came out and said, "I listened to Professor Hewitt, Hugh Hewitt. If you know anything about conservative pundits and journalism, Hugh Hewitt is the professor." He said, "I listened to Hugh Hewitt last night. I did some soul searching, and this is where I ended up."
Yeah.
And good for him. Everybody has to be able to live with the decision they make in any year and the choices they make in any year. So if, unfortunately, some folks live in a bigger public bubble than others and, want to share their thought processes, more power to them, but at the end of the day, we all have to feel good about the choice we make that way. And if that's what makes Brad Thor feel good, you know what? There are people, and I really subscribe at this point to the Reagan philosophy. If I agree with you 80% of the time, we can work together. We got some things we can pursue and fight for together. 80% is good enough.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I think the Republican Party and the right in general is really going to have to face that 80% number after this election, or they don't have a really good chance of coalescing going forward.
Well, it's going to be easy. I love that that Donald Trump has changed his tactic now at going after the minority votes, going after the African American and the Latino voters. I love, and I'm totally paraphrasing here, but in a speech he gave a couple nights ago, he's like, "Hey, you've got so much poverty, your neighborhoods are a wreck. You've been counting on the Democrats for help forever, and I know you just want to have better lives and raise your kids in a safe environment, and the Democrats have done nothing but let you down. What do you have to lose by voting for me? What do you have to lose?" I'm like, that's the best thing Donald Trump has said in ages. What do you got to lose?
What do you got to lose?
Seriously.
Consider me your last stop.
And I tell you what, those Democrats, they're so scared that, after he gave that speech, the media spin the next day was like, Trump had a shakeup in his campaign. He had a shakeup. He hired this, and instead of celebrating the fact that it's the first woman to be the head of a presidential campaign, in a cajillion years or maybe even ever, they're like, whoa, there's panic. There's panic in the Trump campaign. I love it.
Well, I think in all transparency and honesty, I think they did get a little panicky with some of the ties on Manafort coming out. Some of that information was readily available about the suit in the Cayman Islands and things like that and his ties to the folks in Yugoslavia. But some really ugly stuff started coming out and they needed to get rid of him.
Well, then good. He's gone. Yesterday's news.
Mm-hmm. But I think he could have
stayed and I wouldn't have cared. He could have stayed and I wouldn't have cared. It's like such small potatoes. And compared to the Clinton Foundation. My goodness. That's the scandal right there. You know what I think, Stacey and Andrew? Here's what I think. I think that the Clinton campaign has peaked too early. I really do. I don't think her numbers go up anymore.
This year, honestly, I'm not making a bet about anything. Nothing has gone along the lines of traditional wisdom, and I am just watching it all. Because, when you take a look at the Clinton Foundation, for example, if Hillary wins the presidency, she'll no longer take foreign donations. What? Taking them now doesn't matter?
I swear.
I mean, that's insane.
And then there's a part of the Clinton Foundation, like the Clinton Health Initiative or something. They're like, hey, we're not going to agree to that. We're still going to take money.
Well, they can't even. Clinton Health Initiative that collected $140 million for Haiti and gave them $3,000. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but yeah.
No, according to a watchdog place, it's called Charity Navigator. Mm-hmm. Charity Navigator says the Clinton Foundation took in $140 million, and out of that $140 million that came in, $9 million went out to help people. The rest of that $140 million, $131 million went for travel and fundraisers and offices and salaries. I mean, it is It is the epitome of a slush fund. It is the epitome of crooked. It's crooked lying Hillary.
Well, it's not just the epitome of a slush fund and the epitome of crooked. It's the epitome of influence peddling is what it is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you start looking at the email leaks and everything that went on between the State Department and the Clinton Foundation and some of the decisions made by the State Department and the donors to the Clinton Foundation, I mean, we've been screaming on the right for a while now, pay for play. How is this not pay for play? Somebody needs to look into this. And now, unfortunately, and I made a statement like this earlier this week on social media, our political system on both sides of the spectrum has become so not transparent, not authentic, and not giving people the information they need to make good decisions that now you have Assange, WikiLeaks, giving us the information we need to make better decisions. So we actually have people illegally hacking people to give us information about our leaders in Washington, D.C. and other places, because the information we're able to get through the traditional sources would never let us know what's really going on.
I tell you what, that's why I am down with Donald Trump. I'm down for that big giant reset. Let's get a private citizen in there. And I love that people I swear to, who was true? I did that XM radio show, Steele and Unger, the other day, and somebody called in and they're like, or maybe it was Rick Unger was saying this to me, going, well, Donald Trump in 1999 gave $20,000 to Hillary Clinton. And I'm like, well, was she the senator of New York back then? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, then you're an idiot if you don't give her money. It's corrupt, guy. That's not a minus in my book. What, Donald Trump tried to bribe Hillary Clinton? That's a plus. He knows how it works. You want to have a successful business? You got to grease the wheels. That's why Harry Truman was a great president. Harry Truman knew exactly how the little corruption game was played. And during World War II, he said, we can't do it, fellas. We can't do it. And even then there was corruption galore.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, graft and all of that. I mean, the 30s and 40s were rife with it. That's how we got a lot of the antitrust laws and other things we have now. Corrupt doesn't even begin to describe things like Tammany Hall.
And crony capitalism, oh my gosh, I'm all about Twitter right now. I'm all about Twitter.
Why?
I love it. I love it. I want to get so big on Twitter that Twitter shuts me down.
No, you don't want to get shut down on Twitter. You just want to start getting trolled. That's what you want.
Somebody is now, and this is the best idea ever. And I know I thought about it, but I didn't, not for more than 10 seconds. And I love it when people actually follow through and they do stuff like this. There are so many great little speeches that the young candidate Barack Obama gave, just ripping Hillary apart, just ripping her apart. And they're putting them on YouTube and they're putting them on Twitter. I retweeted one and I'm like, hey, don't take it from me, take it from the president. It's so great. Barack Obama just talking about how corrupt Hillary Clinton is. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Donald Trump doesn't have to make another ad. He can just put those things on an endless loop.
Oh my God, he'd have to make an ad or two to begin with, Michael.
No, he did one. He did one this week. He dropped his first ad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Andrew, this is the one that's all about national security and safety and border walls and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think the pundits keep saying that that's the right message. I don't think it is. I don't think it is at all. It's jobs. It's the economy.
Well, if you read, there's a lot of folks in Western Pennsylvania and that area that seems to be kind of in contention for, moving the Electoral College in one way or another, depending on who you read and who you listen to. So you look at what's traditionally called the Iron Belt, right? That's what those folks are all talking about. And unfortunately, from my perspective, I don't think anybody really has the right solution because those folks are traditionally in industries that aren't coming back.
Well, you know what? That's kind of like...
So we got to find...
Right. Blah, 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 blah. The free market will take care of that. We were talking about that last week, and I was thinking about it a lot. And you know what? We can't solve that problem. Like, yeah, the robots are coming, better computers are coming, but you know what? We're not going to figure it out. No think tank invented the light bulb. A dude in Jersey did. No think tank invented the laptop. Some dude in his parents' garage in Silicon Valley did. So all we have to do is get government out of the mix, stand back, and watch out. It'll just happen, and we'll all be shocked and amazed.
And AEI totally agrees with you. Do you know what the highest inflation items since 1996 have been?
No, I do not.
Hospitalization and healthcare and college tuition. We're talking hundreds of percent from where they were in 1996, and they are the two most highly government subsidized things in the world. Because you know what? A university that is guaranteed government student loan money is going to spend every dime of it. And a hospital that is guaranteed Medicare, Medicaid, and traditional insurance reimbursement is going to spend every dime of it. And they're just going to keep spending and jacking up those prices. And that's what they've been doing since 1996. The chart is frightening. You know what's going down?
It's crazy that you brought it up, because I'm like, why is that ringing a bell with me? I have that chart in front of me right now. Mm-hmm. And it is crazy. All of the stuff that is like entrepreneurial and capital, and then there is a free market, everything, the price has gone down.
TVs, cell phones.
New cars, household furnishings, clothing, cell phone service, software, televisions, all of it has gone down. Housing is up over 50%. Food and beverage is up over 50%. Healthcare is over 100%. Childcare, 125%. College tuition and textbooks are 200% more expensive.
Since 1996.
Good Lord in heaven. Just this one chart is just staggering. Just absolutely staggering.
If you want to fix the price of college tuition, stop government student loans for everybody.
Yes, absolutely. Bada bing, bada boom. Andrew, it sounded like you wanted to chime in there.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I'm hearing, because I have not seen that chart, but everything you said where the price has gone down, those are all things that we have made in foreign countries. And everything where the price has gone up, those are things that we can't export. So what does that say about how we're doing things?
What do you mean we can't export higher education?
I mean, we can't.
Oh, yes, you can. We bring hundreds of thousands of students over here on student visas to go to our schools and universities in this country. That's exporting higher education. We actually export it.
That would be importing higher education.
You have to bring people here to go. You have to bring people here to go. But we actually do export the concept of our higher education system. We actually export healthcare to some degree because people do come to this country for healthcare. But what I'm saying is I worked in a business that supported higher education for a number of years. And we knew in the sales and marketing of that business that if government student loans were ever to be rolled back, cut back, etc., our pricing structure would go down. We could raise our contracts every year because every year federal student loan reimbursement went up to these colleges and universities, and everybody gets to go to college. There is no penalty if you take a student loan and you drop out, other than you have to pay it back. There is no quality filter on it that takes a look at the workforce and says there's no market base to it. This is what skills and abilities do we need in this country to get the economy going, like Michael was talking about. And we're going to fund those. We're not going to fund your gender bias under basket weaving liberal arts degree. Everybody can go, everybody can study whatever they want without an eye to either quality or utility. And it's caused the price to go through the roof.
Well, all I know is this. Some stuff has gone down, some stuff's more expensive. And it seems like the expensive stuff is like when the government gets in there, it gets more expensive. Andrew, you have kind of a point. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is imported. However, Stacy, you also have a great point. I'm going to call it a tie. But when whenever the government says we're going to back up the loans for housing, suddenly housing gets super expensive.
Yep.
Whenever the government gets involved in healthcare, it gets super expensive. College, it gets super expensive. And getting back to healthcare right now, was it Aetna? Is it Aetna
Yes,
that's
Yes, it's
decided they've
Aetna.
had enough?
Well,
Yes, they've had enough.
Well, what they said was they've been trying to merge with Humana for a while, and they just basically said, look, you're either going to let us merge with Humana or we're going to pull out of the national healthcare system. We're going to pull out of Obamacare.
So that's what? There's 5 big companies, and what, 3 of them now have pulled out?
Yeah, I think Cigna's gone. They're all saying now that if Blue Cross Blue Shield leaves, it's over. It's just over.
Well, there you go. So we're not going to have. So what happens then? Like, does it go to what happens then to Obamacare? Is it just a pipe dream that failed, or are they're going to try to revive it?
Well,
what happens, you guys?
It's going to be a mess in general because we still have a law on the books that has the personal mandate, and we're going to have a much more disjointed way in which people are going to have to go off and find their own coverage.
Ooh, now it's getting interesting. Let's see what
there's
happens.
2 eventual ends to Obamacare. Either it's going to self-destruct and there's going to be some market forces that bust up this, insurance crony capitalism that goes right into the heart of D.C., where, we actually let insurance market across state lines and do some of the other stuff it would need to do to be more efficient and cost effective. Or you're going to end up with socialized medicine and we're all going to have the VA.
You know what? I think that's the ultimate plan. Is they want it to come down to single payer. I really I don't think that the Democrats that wanted this are that stupid. I think that this kind of was the end game. That the insurance companies won't be able to hang in there. They won't be able to do it. So it's going to everyone's going to have to go to single payer, and that's really bad for innovation. Super bad for innovation. I don't like having all my eggs in one basket.
It's bad for innovation. It's bad for quality of care. I mean, all you have to do to understand what single payer looks like is look at the VA. That is what healthcare run by government bureaucrats looks like.
Hey, remember that dude? I think his name is Martin Shkreli or whatever. The guy who,
Pharma Bro.
oh my God. If you want to be highly entertained, follow that dude on Twitter. He's a riot. He's awesome, okay? I know that whole thing was super ugly and everything, but I got to give it up where it's due. And that dude is funny. He's quite entertaining. Maybe he can make some money off of that. Okay, so Obamacare is going to go down, 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 and then it's going to be single payer, and then we'll find out what happens. The Clinton Foundation is a giant slush fund. Ooh, and check me out doing my own segues here. From the Clinton Foundation to healthcare, let's talk about Hillary's health. Is that an issue or non-issue?
I think that's a non-issue, honestly, because we haven't seen anything specific about her health. I mean, the Trump campaign has insinuated she's had a few issues, but we haven't actually seen anything prove it. Now, that doesn't mean it's not there, but I don't know how deep that well goes right now.
Now, hold on a second.
I want 2 things.
Okay, what do you want to say?
I want Hillary Clinton's medical records,
Fair
and
enough.
I want Donald Trump's taxes. I want them both.
You and I are on the same page there, Stacey.
Okay.
I want them both.
All right. I'm gonna go one better. I want 4 things. Okay.
Ooh.
I want Hillary Clinton's health records. I want Donald Trump's taxes, just so people will shut the fuck up about it. I want Hillary's speeches to Wall Street, and I want her missing emails.
Sounds good.
I could sign up for all that.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Now, I would have written off the health. 2 things happened recently about Hillary's health. Thing number 1, the mainstream media is calling it a conspiracy.
Of course.
They're calling it and listen, I learned this from my good friend Cheryl Atkinson. Once they all start calling it a kooky, crazy conspiracy theory, that's step 1 in you're on to something. Once they all start saying conspiracy theory. A guy from CNN, conspiracy theory. Another guy from Media Matters, conspiracy theory. MSNBC, conspiracy theory. Vox, conspiracy theory. Andrea Mitchell, conspiracy theory. NBC Nightly News, conspiracy theory. Like now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different sources from the quote-unquote mainstream media who are all using the same catchphrase. And that is a sign that there might be something there. Then this happened. And Andrew, if you could, or maybe Stacy, you could, see if you can grab a little bit of the Dr. Drew quote. Dr. Drew from Loveline. Do you ever listen to Loveline?
Back in the day I did. Is that still running?
It was, fantastic radio show.
Doesn't he have a TV show too?
Yeah, he has a TV show on HLN.
He's that guy, he's kind of a media whore. He's got like 5 different shows. But Dr. Drew was in the green room of CNN, and he was with another physician, and they were talking about, well, on this date Hillary had this, and the doctors said it was this. So they treated her with this. And Dr. Drew looked at this other doctor in the green room and went, that is not even close to right. If what they're saying, oh, this is Hillary's malady, for a doctor to prescribe, medicine X, that's really, really not right. And any basic doctor knows that. And that's the other one that had me go, ooh, maybe there's something there.
Well, what he was referring to specifically was her hyperthyroidism, and
okay,
what he said was the manner in which she claims she's treating it is very unconventional, and if we were providing the care she was receiving, we'd be ashamed to show up in the doctor's lounge. We'd be laughed out.
Bada bing, bada boom. Cue the Twilight Zone music. So maybe there's something going on there.
But
yeah, I think that, she certainly has not been transparent about things that may have occurred in the past. There's always been some thing around a concussion of some sort. And, there are post-concussive syndromes that can happen. Certainly hyperthyroidism is something. I mean, if she was truly hyperthyroidism and it was out of control, she'd weigh about 50 pounds. I mean, that is the fire burning for your metabolism. So I'm not really sure I'm buying that one either. And again, I think everything we see now is so different than maybe what was traditional in a certain amount of disclosure if you were applying for the highest office in the land. So you're basically applying to be the leader of the free world. And yeah, there's a little kicking of the tires and looking under the hood that people should be able to do, both into your personal physical health and your finances. And without that level of transparency, you're going to continue to see things like WikiLeaks hacking things to try to find the information, to create a sensation or create winners and losers. And I think that's a very dangerous thing. I think the media kind of cover-ups and willingness to play this conspiracy theory game rather than just give us the information we're asking for, because you are applying to be leader of the free world.
Well, here's what I'm saying. I think there's something there. This show, we've got an awesome track record of calling it before it happened. Like a couple weeks ago, we called it on the show. It's a hostage payment. You remember that one? We'll get to that in a second, but I'm just calling it right now. There's something funky with Hillary's health. I'm just saying it. I'm looking at my watch and marking the time. There is something funky going on with Hillary's health. Because you don't get the full media blitz of saying it's a wacky conspiracy theory unless there's something there.
Here's my other thing.
Can I get a little love for calling the hostage payment thing? I can hear me saying it right now. It was a hostage payment. It was a hostage payment. And now they came out and said it. It was a hostage payment.
And to be fair, we should just clarify what they said was it was still a payment for guns and weapons that were never delivered, but that payment was used as leverage. That's their words.
Yeah, of course they're not going to call it a hostage.
Andrew, let's put it this way. I'm not traveling internationally ever anytime soon.
Yeah, I tell you what, I canceled my vacation plans to Iran back in 1979.
I wouldn't even go to London or Paris right now.
Oh, but Paris is so beautiful.
Paris is so beautiful, but I have no desire to be taken hostage.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'd probably go to London before I would go to Paris. Paris
I'll go
is
to
a
Ireland or Scotland, not London.
And I'll see you at the whiskey distilleries there, Stacy.
Ireland is a good time. Ireland is a good time. Hey, is that statue of naked Trump, that's not in Piccadilly Circus. Is that in Union Square?
I don't know where they put it up, but can I just say that the language around that entire incident had me tore up.
Really?
Oh my God, I was laughing. The first thing I see in my Facebook, notifications in the morning, I go in and I look and I'm looking for news, is someone erected a statue of naked Donald Trump. And I'm like, did they really just say erected?
That's a knee slapper.
If you didn't see the quote from the New York City Parks and Rec folks, you totally missed it. I got to find it here.
Oh yeah, it was a real knee slapper.
Oh,
if they want to erect a statue, no matter how small. You see that?
On.
I said erect and small.
If we laugh at some stuff. I mean, I would have found a naked statue of Hillary every bit as disgusting and probably every bit as hysterical for the language going around it.
Yeah, I'm just like to go to a dick joke, like when they put it up and like here's the number one tweet. The hands are too big. At least be original, you horrible people. And I tell you what, I would love to put up the naked Hillary statue right next to it.
I don't really have any desire to see either one of them naked. They're, for all intents and purposes, senior citizens.
Amen.
I mean, neither one, thank you. I didn't.
Well, there is but here's the difference. Here's the difference. There is a Trump statue. There is. So, as a citizen of the United States, I demand that there be a naked Hillary statue. I demand it.
I would rather see the one of Trump destroyed.
No, because see, it's out there. It's out there. And for as many days as it's been out there, I want a statue of naked Hillary on her knees sucking his dick. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's art, baby. That's my political statement.
Ugh.
Let's see. Can you imagine? And I've never wanted to be this guy, but like, can you imagine if there wasn't a naked Trump statue and somebody just put a statue, like some cartoony naked statue of Hillary Clinton out there? Oh my Lord! It wouldn't have lasted 30 seconds. It wouldn't have lasted 30 seconds. The double standard. Did you see what happened in Minneapolis at the Trump campaign, the little Trump fundraiser?
Yes, I did see some of that.
How proud are you to be an American? Have you seen it, Andrew?
I have not. Of
course you haven't. There's an Asian American kid with a mohawk, like straight out of Mad Max, who just like rabbit punches this woman in her late 50s, early 60s. She's just going into a Trump fundraiser with her husband, and it's like straight up assault. People are yelling things, they're throwing things, that you are literally getting attacked by an angry mob. And this like Asian kid with the mohawk just boom, 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 just rabbit punches this woman, and nobody bats an eye. Nobody cares.
Well, I mean,
I want my naked Hillary statue, and I want that Asian kid to go to jail.
The Asian kid should definitely go to jail.
Absolutely.
And I think that's another piece of language that I don't find amusing at all. The piece of language that calls these people who really are resorting to violence to solve differences, which I will never support, okay, are being termed as protesters. When the Tea Party protested lawmakers in Washington, D.C., they went down to the mall. They were in lawn chairs. They had signs. They chanted things. They put out leaflets. When they were done, all the signs got picked up. All the trash got picked up. All the lawn chairs got picked up, and they went home and went away. No one was assaulted. No one was hurt. No one was nothing. Those are protests. What is going on in places like Minneapolis and Milwaukee and these types of situations, those are not protests, those are riots. And if we could get the language right and talk about them for what they really are, I think it would really help everyone.
Oh, it's crazy. I think somebody said it was an unruly mob. It was an unruly protest or something. I'm like, that's not unruly. That's straight up assault. That's like
Yes.
we are. It's horrible. And we did this joke on the Flip Side TV show. I think it was like season 1, where we compared, the mall in D.C. Like after the Tea Party left, it looked beautiful, and then after like a big Earth Day gathering, it was
terrible.
wrecked. I mean, there was so much garbage. It's
I
like,
did the
really?
same thing after an NRA annual meeting, photographed the conference hall where it had been and outside, and then put up pictures of an Occupy rally. Yeah, gun owners are really awful. Look at this. I mean,
Yeah.
that what the left will accept as protest or your right to be heard, and how that happens, and what people do during the course of that is just disgusting.
It is, and we need excuse me, we need reporters. I swear to God, if they would just do who, what, when, where, why. That's all you have to do. Don't put any spin on it. I was watching this thing last night. Matt Lauer sat down with Ryan Lochte, the Olympic guy.
Oh, yeah.
God.
And Lochte is sticking to the script that his PR guy gave him. And Matt Lauer doesn't have the balls to call him, so he doesn't have the balls to say, so you lied. Like, he tries to get Ryan Lochte there. Ryan Lochte's still trying to, get out from under it. But it's like, just what you did was you lied. And they just, Matt Lauer wasn't going to hold his feet to the fire. And it was just amazing to watch someone who is he's okay, that Ryan Lochte, the mainstream media is going to help him out, but my God, the kid lied, and Matt Lauer's like, so what would you call it? I don't know what to call it. All I know is there was a gun drawn at my face. Well, do you think they wanted the money for the property you destroyed? I don't know what they wanted. There was a translator there. Your buddy said there was a translator there saying that the guy said, you're going to have to pay for the damages to the bathroom. I don't know about that, Matt. All I know is it was unfortunate. And Ryan Lochte, and he's bringing up the crocodile tears, like he's choking back these fake. It was horrifying to watch.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It was really bad, but you and I have a very different take on it. I don't think Matt Lauer did him any favors. And yes, he could have hit him a lot harder, but it seemed like a scenario of when you've got someone who's digging their own grave and they already bought their own shovel, why do you try and take the shovel away from them?
Al Roker did. Al Roker was like, that kid lied. That kid lied. Al Roker, the weather guy.
The weather guy who's half the man he used to be.
But I you know what, in a weird way, I agree with what you're saying, Andrew. But it wasn't that Matt Lauer was letting him continuing to dig. He wasn't. He kept offering him like a lifeline. Like, are you sure that's what you want to say? Because it might have been something else. Do you really? And Ryan Lochte, he's like, you can see him like he's trying to cry. And like, I swear, people would always say this. I worked with Charlie Sheen. Yeah, there you go. I'm name dropping. I worked with Charlie Sheen for a couple years, and people would always be amazed. They'd always be amazed. How does Charlie Sheen get away with this? How does he get away with this? And it seems so obvious. He owns it. They're like, wow, Charlie Sheen, you were paying a madam? You were having hookers sent to your house for sex? And he'd be like, yeah, and I'm not really paying him for sex. I was really paying him to leave after the sex. Ba-dum. And it was awesome. And so all Ryan Lochte had to say, and it's the same thing with Donald Trump. It's the same thing. They're like, why doesn't this stuff stick to Donald Trump? Because he owns it. And it's the same thing that Lochte could have done. If he would have said, yeah, man, we had too many beers. We had just finished up. We were partying pretty hard. I really had to go to the bathroom. The bathroom was locked. I kicked it open. That was a really bad call. And then I saw this poster, and I don't even know why I did it, but man, I knocked that thing down. The next thing I know, there's a gun pointed at me, and it was just a horrible incident. And yeah, I should pay for the new door on the bathroom, and I should pay to get that poster replaced. I am not proud of that. and I'm probably not going to party so hard in the future. That's it. End of story. When he tried to sneak out of the country, and then he's crying about his teammates. He's like, I just wanted to make sure that they got out of the country. And like, no, dude, you were already back in San Diego. You made sure you got out, and you threw your buddies under the bus.
You know what I would have liked to have seen?
Naked swimming. What?
No. What I would have liked to have seen is if 1/4 of the coverage that Mr. Lochte and his poor judgment got were given to the folks who are dealing with life-altering circumstances, deaths, and destruction in Louisiana.
Amen to that, sister. Amen to that.
Saw an interesting perspective today that the reason the mainstream media ignores places like Louisiana is because they are in such deep red states that they have really no constituents there.
Well, it's quite funny, and somebody put one of these up on Twitter recently, and I should have retweeted it. But just like Obama and everybody and their mother going after George Bush for Hurricane Katrina, and now the shoe's on the other foot. The shoe is on the other foot. And there was a great dude. Somebody from Louisiana was on CNN, and the CNN reporter is like, we have Louisiana, representative blah, 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 who says that Donald Trump going to Louisiana is just a photo op. And then they go into the interview, and the guy's like, I'm so glad Donald Trump came down here. I'm so happy that he came to help, because that's what a real leader does. And you could see the shock and dismay on the CNN anchor's face, because it was bait and switch. He's like, I'm super glad he came, because now people are focusing on the problem, and people in Louisiana need help.
Yeah, no, and I agree. Just the entire lack of coverage of what was going on there. I mean, if you take a look at what happened in Ferguson, right, during the riots, one woman, and I'm not saying she didn't deserve it, this was a horrible thing to have happen to her. One woman had opened a bakery, used her life savings to open a bakery. It got destroyed when those little juvenile delinquents decided to burn their own stuff because they were mad. Somebody gave us her story, and a bunch of conservatives put a GoFundMe up that allowed her to reopen better than what she had prior to the riots. You saw no individual stories out of Louisiana coming out of the mainstream media. You saw no calls for help, cries for support. What you saw was a lot of people in red T-shirts and with shovels and with rakes that are from the area doing what needs to be done when something like that happens. Yeah. And, my anger was really at when you look at some other disasters and some other very unfortunate things that have happened in other areas of the country, maybe because of what they were attached to or where they occur, the response would have been totally different. This is Louisiana. Yeah. It's up to the folks of Louisiana apparently to deal with, and that really upset me.
Well, yeah, and then here's what kills me too is like there were some pictures of Donald Trump and his people unloading a truck, and like you had some like Never Trump people going, he's handing out Play-Doh, he's handing out like somebody must have like in one of the boxes among the water and the clothing and the blankets and the food, maybe they were like really they're going to key in on the Play-Doh. Yeah, let's mock the one dude who's down there helping. Yeah, I tell you what, the Never Trump people are starting to baffle and confuse me. I think we've done a bunch of them. I think we're ready to move on to some Michaeltopias, you guys.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me. The Olympics are closing. Bye-bye, Olympics. You were pretty good. I wasn't into you in the beginning, but I kind of got on board.
It was like the romantic comedy where first the girl has glasses on, and then she takes off her glasses, and you realize how beautiful and special she really is.
It was like that. It kind of was like that.
Some serious winning going on there. Between Simone and Michael Phelps, I mean, that's some pretty amazing stuff.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Phelps is a freak. Phelps is an X-Man. He really is. His shoulders are like abnormally wide, and his arms are abnormally long. He is
built perfect for the sport he chose.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Okay, I have a few Michaeltopias, but I always like it when somebody else goes first. So, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, da 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 da.
Nice related to swimmers.
Say what?
Mine's related to the swimmers.
I'll
All
yield the
right,
floor.
then. Stacy, you go first. You got a Michaeltopia. I'm going to do the intro here. The regular world is crazy. Doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes. But in Michaeltopia, we have a different set of laws, and everything works perfectly. So welcome to Michaeltopia, and here's one of the new laws. Go ahead, Stacy.
Because women live in Michaeltopia, too.
Yes.
If you are going to build a statue of a naked man on public property, it cannot be a 70-year-old billionaire. It has to be an Olympic swimmer.
Okie dokie. I'm fine with that. And since there's dudes in Michaeltopia, there's also got to be a hot chick. Let's just have, I think, you know who had this down, Stacy? You know who understood this? The ancient Greeks. Like
there you go.
Every once in a while, you just have a statue of a beautiful naked person. I don't think there's a problem with that. It always
Not
kills
at all.
me. Like, remember when they covered up, who was giving a speech, and they had Lady Justice standing behind him, right? And Lady Justice is usually, naked, and she's got the blindfold on and the scales, and they had to cover up the titties on Lady. Like, really? Are we that immature as a society? In Michaeltopia, Lady Justice had her titties out.
And you need to check your own daily dose tomorrow because you'll find out why.
Okie doke. I love it. Andrew, what do you got?
In Michaeltopia, Hillary Clinton is not allowed to have a podcast if she's not going to put in the work that we do.
Oh my gosh, that's right. I didn't listen to it. Did you listen?
I did, and it's a puff piece, and you didn't learn anything new, and she would have been better off doing an NPR interview if that's what she wanted to do.
Wow. Hillary's podcast not getting good reviews. Okay, in Michaeltopia, here's mine. In Michaeltopia, if you live on a coast or you live in any area that is prone to flooding, your house is on stilts or is elevated. Okay, I'm driving around Long Beach here in Long Island the other day, and people have come to the realization that every once in a while, Mother Nature comes and slaps you upside the head. So they're elevating their houses. I love the people of Louisiana. I love the people of New Orleans. I love the people who live by beautiful rivers, lakes, and streams. But when Mother Nature comes in and wallops you, I know it makes you very sad. But when you get that insurance check, get your house up. Put your house up on stilts. And the next time you might look like an idiot. You might feel like an idiot for like 50, 60 years. But guess what? When that next flood comes in, you're going to be okay. And your shit's going to be dry. You're welcome, America.
I have one last one.
Okie dokie.
In Michaeltopia, when there is a cartoon movie, it will not be allowed for feminists and other activists to actually believe that one of the characters in that movie has feelings because they're really just cartoons. We will never apologize for an animated character again.
All right.
And this comes from Sausage Party because apparently some people are having a really tough time with some reviewers not being sensitive enough to a lesbian taco.
That is funny. A little quick story. Most of the people who make cartoons have a very twisted sense of humor. And like Sausage Party is just so blatant. It's so blatant. For anybody to be, if you're going to be offended at the title of the movie. Be offended at the very notion that it exists. Don't go in and get offended at the subtle nuances of Sausage Party.
Well, apparently we were not allowed in some feminist blog post to call the taco a lesbian because it was clearly more bisexual.
Oh, okay.
I'm not even
That's
kidding.
Great.
Michael,
funny.
Can I throw in one more before we go?
Yes, you can.
All right. In Michaeltopia, we take a minute to pay respect to John McLaughlin, who we lost this past week. This guy was the OG of podcasting before there was podcasting, doing the round table, and we respect him for all the great work he did in his lifetime.
Yes, let's give it up for that dude. Issue 1. That was great. All right, here comes a flurry of Michaeltopias, okay?
All right.
In Michaeltopia, my Nook, I use a Nook to read books at night, okay? In Michaeltopia, my Nook has a better search engine. I read a lot of fantasy. I read a lot of science fiction. A lot of stuff that has like Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. I just finished Volume 2 of a science fiction trilogy, and when Nook says, here's what you should read next, I swear to God, every time it's 50 Shades of Grey. Like, how can that be? How can that be? That's like,
Well,
hey,
just read it, Michael, and then it won't do that again.
No, you know what? I don't want to read it because they keep trying to make me. It's like, hey, you enjoyed Star Wars 1, you enjoyed Star Wars 2, we think you should go see 50 Shades of Grey. It's like, it's horrible, and it drives me crazy. Okay, in Michaeltopia, we celebrate Sade. There's another one that she's not getting the love she deserves. Sade, she got a lot of young men laid back in the day. She's a beautiful woman, and she makes great music. So as much as we give it up for the Bee Gees, we need to celebrate Sade. Your love is king. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, that's good stuff. Okay, in Michaeltopia, iTunes works like any other utility. It's the internet. I'm trying to download some Al Green, and it keeps like loading and loading and loading and loading. The internet should work like any other utility. You flip a switch, and it works. I need to be able to download some Al Green and some Sade. Okay, in Michaeltopia, people do not find slaps on the butts disgusting. We covered it on this podcast. Like in football, you did a good play. One guy slaps another guy on the butt. We've all seen it a million times. So when a beach volleyball player does it, it's not disgusting. It's a celebration of a good play. There you go. We had a great show. I love this. There's a lot of exciting things happening for the Loftus Party and the loftusparty.com, the website. I don't want to count chickens before they hatched, but there's a lot of wonderful things happening for the flip side, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for that. A lot of wonderful things happening for the website, theloftusparty.com. Stay tuned for that. There's a lot of exciting guests coming up on the Loftus Party podcast. Stay tuned for that. It's like crazy. It's like we're about to unveil our fall schedule, and I am so excited. It's everything I can do not to tell you about it right now, America, but you'll just have to come back next week. And you'll have to listen to some other exciting podcasts and radio shows, like Andrew Apple. You've got a wonderful show.
Yes, So Fresh, So Prince. Come get your 90s nostalgia as me and my friend Lorenzo rewatch every episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air week by week and talk about how it holds up, both from a 90s sense and a comedy sense. Head on over to SoFreshSoPrince.com to find more.
Dude, next week you got to put some spin on that. That was literally like you were reading it, like you were phoning it in.
It's been a long week, Michael.
It's like when they hand the guy in the NFL booth the blue card, and he's like, make sure to watch blah, blah, blah this fall. It's an exciting look at how chairs are manufactured in the Amish country. Blah, blah, blah. This fall's at a... So check out So Fresh, So Prince. Stacy, you've got some exciting stuff. What's going on with you?
Well, if you want to see my twisted view of reality and what I think is funny, interesting, or weird, you can look at Michael's website every day on the loftusparty.com and the Daily Dose. You can also find me being trolled pretty regularly on Twitter at @ScottsFire. And I got a couple things coming up here in the fall that are looking pretty neat.
Nice. And your book of short stories, Tale from the Freedom Bunker, is
I actually think a book called Freedom for Dummies would be a lot easier to write.
We're going to release it on Amazon and iTunes as an ebook, and you won't be able to download it.
Tales from the Freedom Bunker. Hey, if you enjoyed Tales from the Freedom Bunker Part 1 and Tales from the Freedom Bunker Part 2, you might enjoy 50 Shades of Grey. Hey, I had a lot of fun this week. Let's do it again next week, you guys. You're fantastic. It's the Loftus Party. Be our friend on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Flipside Loftus. You're the best. Have a great day. Be safe. Wear your seatbelt so you don't get a ticket. Not to save your life, just so you don't get a ticket. Bye.